Yo, what's good? In today's video, I'm back in my interview bag. I got one of the UK's rising talents with me, Bradley Kirkham. Bradley, man, what's good? That was good. That was a good dab up, man. We were talking about the dab up, saying you're gonna fuck it up, but that was actually good. But Bradley, man, tell me how you're feeling. Like,
I'm
how's
good,
your
bro.
journey, man?
It was good to an extent, bro. Driving in London's never great.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I'm good,
It's
man.
better
I'm
than
chilling.
trains, though.
Yeah.
It's better than trains.
Happy
100%.
to be here.
So right now we're actually at Forever Good, one of the places where Bradley had his first pop-up event. So Bradley, like, tell me about the kind of event, how it went and stuff, how you felt.
That event was, for me, it was like a massive part of the business.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't expect it to be like a massive turnout. I knew it was gonna like be okay, like there's certain people were gonna be here and there.
Yeah.
But bro, I turned up and there was already kids queuing.
Yeah.
It was massive, bro. It surpassed all my expectations. It was a great day, good vibes. Like, just chilling.
Yeah, obviously I came late, but the turnout looked pretty good.
But in the first like half an hour we sold out. There was a good queue of people, and that's what I wanted. Like, I wanted there to be like that rush, that excitement, that queue of people. But yeah, it was good. It was good to have that experience, because obviously if you're just like an online brand, online business, there's not that interaction, there's not that authenticity.
I always say, like, I feel like this whole move of meeting your audience, your customers, your consumers in real life is the right way to go. It's like, I recommend a lot of brands to do that, because it's just like, it breaks that element of, oh, we're online. You know what I mean? It just breaks that kind of online kind of element, you know?
And in the end of the day, like at the end of the day, like, them guys, they're the ones that like make all this possible. So to meet them in person, like dap them up, say what's good, like hear what they're feeling about the day, bro. It was good to see.
That's what it's about. Like, treat them like friends, like family.
But they are, bro. They make this possible.
Exactly, man. Even this is happening right now. It's possible because, you know, people are supporting all of that stuff. People are tuning in. So, like, what did you kind of learn from that event? What were, like, some takeaways from that?
I think the main thing was being like a smaller brand around all these big dogs in the industry. You obviously have like a lot of self-doubt, and you speak to anyone, they're going to say, oh no, like I've got no self-doubt, like I'm killing shit. They're lying.
They're lying, bro. I feel like, yeah, sorry to interrupt,
it's cool.
But I feel like if you don't have a little ounce of self-doubt in you, the goal, the vision is not big enough.
Yeah.
You're not going big enough.
No, exactly,
you know what I mean?
bro. It's human. So yeah, I had obviously this self-doubt, and when I see all them people queuing up, bro, that the worry and the anxiety of what it was going to be just went away. And I just feel like, as a small brand, like, obviously, yeah, be hard on yourself, but it taught me to like have a little less self-doubt. Like, you know what, people do want to come out and see what I'm doing. People do want to interact. Like, I don't know, I feel like it was just to be less harsh on myself. Obviously I still am harsh to myself to get that perfection that drives me. Like, it's going to get me to the point I want to be at. But yeah, just like be a little less hard on myself. I think that was the main thing.
I get you. I feel like with the whole I really like what you said about the being harsh on yourself. I feel like that's a ever-going like balance you have to kind of strike, because being hard on yourself is ultimately what kind of got us to where we are right now. We're not anywhere amazing, but you know, we're doing decently well for ourselves, and that was geared by an element of being hard on yourself. But at the same time, your mental health can be affected a lot by being hard on yourself, and that can just affect you in your work, and it's almost like a domino effect with a bunch of other issues. So I feel like striking that balance between being hard on yourself and then also kind of appreciating what you've done, and, you know, kind of looking back at it, it's definitely a balance you have to kind of work out while building what you have. Yeah,
like, I do think the businesses and stuff, that some of them do just disappear is because they let that being hard on yourself overtake the achievement of what they've already done.
They lose the hunger and then they get like complacent.
Like, bro, I'm hard on myself now. I look back on that day and I'm just thinking, bro, I sold out in half an hour. Like, to some people, like, the amount of people I had there was nothing. But for me, as where I am right now, I was over the moon with that. So I'm not trying to sound like big-headed, like, oh, I did this, I did that. But for me, that was massive. Obviously, bigger brands have a higher expectation, a higher turnout, but that's because they are where they are at that point, end of the day. So, yeah, it was massive for me.
No, that's great, man. And on to many more as well.
Yeah.
So obviously,
totally.
as well, at the event, you had your first kind of magazine, and I don't know if you want to talk about it right now, but you wanted to release more magazines as well. So kind of tell me about the magazines, what's in them, and what's the kind of vision and goal with the magazines?
The magazine was... I'm working on the second one now.
Yeah.
But it's not easy releasing
Magazines
a magazine.
Are tough work.
But it's difficult.
Tough
It is
work.
difficult. The one that I released, the volume 1, but I restarted it 3 times. It was stressful. But the final product was it. And what's the other question?
What's kind of the vision with the magazines? What's the goal with the magazines? Where are you thinking of taking them?
You know what it is? I just want to highlight all my work, because I feel like social media nowadays, people skim over stuff.
It's very hard to kind of grab that attention. Whereas if you have something physical, it's just more meaningful.
Yeah, and it has all of my work in it, even some extra little bits that I didn't release out. It's just all of the whole year encapsulated in one small A4 book almost. Yeah, that was basically it, to encapsulate what I'm doing, what I'm trying to portray over social media, but sometimes it's missed and stuff like that. Yeah, it was just encapsulating my work into one place.
That's really dope. That's really dope. I feel like, especially for your most loyal core fans, they're gonna appreciate that a lot. And then again, you have this kind of element of, this is now a grail. 10, 20 years down the line, you're gonna be like, shit, this is the 2024 Baddy Kirkham magazine. You're gonna look back at it and be like, right, do you know what I mean? It's gonna be the grailed pieces is gonna be almost like that. Yeah, it's almost like a kind of souvenir back in time, So I'm a big fan of kind of magazines that just round up the whole year and that. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to that one as well. Hopefully I can get some working on that as well.
Yeah, of
but
course.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about in terms of within fashion. How exactly did you get started into that? What was your integration into that?
My nan was a seamstress, so she taught my mum how to sew. It was in the family a little bit. Not saying that was the biggest part. And I come from a very small town in Kent. And I just wanted something a little bit different, I was seeing at the time it was YMBA. Is it YBA Namir? And stuff
YBN,
them American rappers that were putting this clothing that we didn't have in the UK yet. And I wanted something a little bit different, so where I think I bought a pair of jeans from Primark and I cut holes in it and I hand sewed.
Have you got any pictures of that, or do you still have the piece?
I do have pictures of it. I'll send it. I'll send it.
To the video. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I put paisley bandana print behind it, and I was wearing them out, and the patches were falling out, but I was so proud of it because it was the first thing I ever made.
Yeah.
Fast forwarding on, I was dabbling here and there, doing the jeans again, little one of one type things. And then it got to COVID, and this was when rhinestone hoodies were popping.
Yeah.
But I wanted a rhinestone hoodie so bad. So I tried to make myself one, realizing it's much harder than I was trying to heat fix individual rhinestones onto this hoodie. I was like, no, it's not going to work. So I just brought all the kit for it.
Oh, you got a friend here?
Oh my God.
Scared of me, sorry.
So I bought all the kit for it, and I was like, you know what, I might as well just make a few. And I sold them on Depop to my friends.
Yeah.
And that's when it started. That was my first brand. And then I just carried on striving for it, doing different stuff. I moved on to my second brand, that done well. Didn't feel like that. Sorry?
Do you mind disclosing the names of both of them, or?
So the first one was Sample London.
Yeah.
But I was working hours and hours because I used to hand make all these items with a vinyl cut.
Yeah.
Spent hours and hours and hours on it, paying for a website, everything. I remember I used to drop it and 1 or 2 items would sell. It was difficult, but I just kept going because I thought, you know what, I want to get to it at one point. So I've got to keep going to get to there.
Yeah.
So I saw a a wall in that brand, so I made one called A May Painters Club.
Yeah.
Which this was at the time where there was a big brand that was like using like a different language to their original as like the beginning of their brand name. So I thought, you know what, that's like French. Like I was searching for hours to try and do this name.
Yeah.
So it means soul. A May, soul. So it was Soul Painters Club. Looking back at it, cringe, right? Cringe. But at the time, I thought it was hard.
That's what always happens. Like,
yeah.
Whatever kind of creative thing you start, when you look back at the original stuff, you cringe so hard.
Cringe.
Like, even me, when I look back on my old posts, I'm like, what? Why did I put that out? Do you know what I mean? But that's growth. It just shows growth, you know?
But yeah, and then obviously I moved on from them to what I have now.
Okay, so kind of, obviously, we're at Bradley Kirkham now. I see you use the word artist a lot. What does that kind of mean to you? What does it entail? What are you trying to kind of tell the people with that word?
So, from when I was even like a kid, when like all my friends were playing football and playing Xbox, whatever, I was spending more time painting. Like I have paintings dated back to when I was like 3 years old.
You've got some of these paintings in the background here as well.
Like I've got paintings dated from when I was 3 years old. Like it was always a thing that I loved. Like I enjoyed it through primary school. I picked it as a subject in secondary. I've done it in A-level. So when it comes to the brand, at the beginning, I thought changing my brand to by Bradley Kirkham, people are not going to want to buy clothes with my name on it. Like, just be like some random guy and they're like going to be like, oh, why is he... like, I don't want to just buy something with this guy's name on it. So I thought I needed some sort of word. And trying to get to that point, it was difficult. But I got there and I actually like loved it because obviously because of my art background, I wanted to show, again, it was like that separate logo from my name, but it was also like it meant something to me. Like I do see myself as an artist, like not in a big-headed way, but I do more than just like putting a logo on clothes, do like that. Like I put passion and love and I put effort into it. So yeah, it was kind of like encapsulating like me as a person, as well as the purpose of serving like a separate logo to just the brand name.
I hear you. So it's kind of just that kind of separation and that branding perspective. I feel like it's a word that a lot of people will kind of resonate with. And at first glance, it kind of lacks context. Obviously, you know, clothes is art, but because it lacks context, it's like people can make their own kind of meaning from it. Like just different people, it might mean something different. So I feel like it also has this kind of emotional, kind of deeper element to it that people will, you know, fuck with a lot. Yeah,
I also see that too. Like you say, they'll just think, oh, it's just another name that he's slapping on a hoodie, but it does have that deeper meaning. Yeah.
So in terms of like your art as well, like do you want to talk about that as well? Talk us through it, your journey through that, because as well as being a fashion designer, he also does art. So yeah.
Like I said, like I've done art through majority of my life, and then I feel like I let the fashion like take over. But then one day, like I was like, you know what? Let me just pick it back up again. Started painting, and I switched my style like 3 times. At the beginning of my paintings was at a point where it was more realistic, and I feel like that's why I had like a break from it, because I didn't enjoy it. It took a lot of like patience, effort and stuff like that, which I feel like you should have, but I wasn't enjoying it anymore. So I switched to like more of like an abstract style, and I sort of started getting into it more and more and more. And then obviously the deeper you get into the sort of scene we're at now, you see like other creatives our age doing like amazing things. So I was like, you know what, let me just, like, it inspired me to get back into it. But now I feel like I'm going on the way back down. I do it more of like I did wanna, like I done my exhibition, I wanted to have it as more of like a coincide my brand. Like I do clothes, I do the everyday.
It's just another layer.
Yeah.
Just another layer to it.
But now I feel like it's more of a hobby, like a passion, that maybe it's not the time for me to take it as serious right now because I'm spending a lot of time with the fashion side. But I'll definitely pick it up back more in the future.
So in the end goal, what would you kind of want Bradley Kirkham to be kind of known as? More on the art side or the fashion side, or is it more like it's all kind of integrated as one?
Yeah. So I tell this to people quite often. Like, as well as I'm in the fashion game, don't take it as like I'm trying to make it like a quick buck out of fashion and then move on. But I don't like the fashion scene as a whole. I feel like there, as there is in all industries, there's a lot of negatives and.
The industry is exhausting. I'll tell you that.
I'll
tell you that.
Like,
right now, man.
It's difficult. It is very difficult. An end goal, I see myself as building the legacy, building the name as the business, and getting a team to almost take over it for me.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to put my effort and stuff like that into it, but it's because I want to have that and I want to still dip into it and overlook, but I want to put my passion elsewhere into maybe focusing more on painting, and putting more effort into it like that then, because it's difficult to balance the two.
Yeah.
I found myself either putting more effort into one than the other, but it was like switching back and forward and it was just getting difficult. Like, it was kind of blurring.
Yeah.
So yeah, end goal to maybe step back from the fashion a little bit and then go more into the art side.
Oh, okay. That's quite interesting. Okay, fair enough. Because I thought the end kind of vision of that would be kind of integrated. But yeah, I feel like within time, you just kind of... To be fair, it's a difficult question to answer because here's the thing, within life, interests, your goals and visions can always change. So it's like over time, you really get to kind of understand and find out what you really want to do. But yeah, I think I'm excited to see, where you kind of get out with the art. I kind of wanted to circle back onto the clothes now. Exactly. Let's say, describe your clothes in as few words as possible. Like, how would you kind of describe your clothes to, let's say you met someone new and they asked you, yo, what type of clothes do you do? Tell me about your clothes. Give me a couple words or a sentence of how you would kind of describe your clothes.
I would describe my clothes as perfectly inconvenient convenience.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do the everyday wear. Like, I have tracksuits, but they're wide. Like, you're stepping on them in the back of your shoes. Like, it's not convenient wear.
Yeah.
Almost shooting myself in the foot a little bit because the day-to-day consumer can't buy it.
Yeah.
But the people that will buy it will, I don't know, cherish it more.
They're
like,
the right people that buy it. Yeah.
It's a very select audience.
It's a niche audience. Yeah.
Like, obviously I have the normal T-shirts and that, but still, like, the recent T-shirt in the collection's got holes in it. Who wants holes in their T-shirt? Like, but I just thought, it looked good. And yeah, like, I just think my items aren't always convenient. And that's what I love about it.
I understand that. I like that take. It's very different. It's very kind of unique. Like, I've never heard someone describe their clothes like that. Do you know what I mean? So I like that a lot. So in terms of like pieces and stuff, obviously you got hoodies, you got jackets, you got I was gonna say legs. You got trousers. What's your favorite piece to design? Like, what piece do you look at and like, yes, I'm designing another hoodie, or yes, I'm designing another trouser? Like, what's the piece that's like the Bradley piece that you like the most?
That's a difficult one. I think I spend my time enjoying more like designing jackets. I feel like there's a lot more
jackets.
I don't know, just all like the outerwear sort of category.
I feel like outerwear is the best piece of clothing like ever. Yeah,
because you can take it down and you can do like a light jacket, or you can do a puffer or something. Like, it's got a lot of like diversity in it. If you've got a hoodie, right, it's a hoodie.
Yeah.
If you've got jeans, like, obviously you can do a lot with jeans and trousers as well, but I think
even
it's
with
jackets.
The hoodies, I see you play around with that a lot, actually. Like, you had like different kind of paneling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So even with the hoodies, we're one of the brands that does quite a lot with the hoodies. But yeah, I 100% agree with you, especially with puffer jackets and just outerwear in general. there's so many parts to it that you can really kind of play with and just make it your own. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you can compact a lot of detail into a jacket as well.
Yeah.
It's just fun designing one. I definitely enjoy that the most.
In terms of like your favorite pieces and your favorite kind of collection to date, what are the kind of standout ones? What are like your favorite ones so far?
It's really difficult because I even highlighted this in the mag. Every time I'd like release a collection, like that's my favorite, and then I see the new things I'm making, I'm like, oh no, that's my favorite. Like it's always changing, but I think that's another thing of that, always striving for something better.
And it's growth.
Yeah,
it's growth. Your taste changes, you know.
But my favorite thing right now, if I had to say, was this last collection. The last collection, or the collection you're about to release? The collection I'm about to release now, Crafts and Arts. I think there's a lot of pieces in that. Like, this was definitely the hardest I've worked on a collection.
We'll throw that up on screen as well. We'll throw a couple of pictures up on the screen as well.
But yeah, like some of the pieces out of that, like the backhaul denim, I definitely love them a lot. One, because again, it goes in with that inconveniently convenient.
Yeah.
Because they're so plain, they're basic, but they're big, they're wide, they're distressed, like, and it's just a perfect balance. And I just love that. And some of the jackets as well, like, I feel like people are really taking this one in because of some of the details I put in this jacket.
Yeah, I'm excited about this collection. I like your last collection as well, where you had a lookbook shoot in the gym. That was really dope. It's something different. Do you know what I mean? I haven't really seen something like that, but this new collection is looking very good as well, and it's looking different as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to just seeing the whole thing and, you know, what you got released. So in terms of like your favorite, not in terms of your favorite, like tell me a bit behind the collections and the lookbook. So let's say, let's split into two kind of questions. So you got your collection, and then it's campaign time to shoot the lookbook. What's your kind of like mindset behind them? Like, how do you kind of formulate your ideas for the lookbooks and create them? What kind of inspires you to, like, why did you say, okay, cool, for this collection, I want to go to a gym and shoot that? Like, what inspires you to pick this certain aesthetic for a campaign?
It's difficult. That's a difficult question, but it's a good question.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to fit the surroundings to the clothes, one.
Preach.
And two, it just needs to be like fully cohesive. Like, even with the clothes that are doing it in the collections now, like, they're fully cohesive. They match with the name, they match with the background. So it feels right, it feels intentional. But yeah, like, it just needs to like fit it. It needs to look good. It needs to fit the aesthetic. Yeah, that's about it. Like, it needs to all cohesively like link in.
That's a very good point. I feel like when it comes to campaigns and imagery, that's where a lot of people kind of mess up, because you can have a good product and that product can look totally arse just by the picture you take.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a thing where you're actually better off putting more effort into your campaign and your imagery rather than the product. That's not to say, create some mediocre shit product. It's not to say that, because you can make a mediocre product look really good through the imagery and stuff. But for you to actually put in time and effort into, okay, cool, this is what the lookbook is going to look like, this is what the campaign is going to look like, it's just another kind of element that I feel like has to have a big focus as much as the product. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's why also, like, I love the editorials and stuff like that I was shooting before, but I think that's another reason why now I've gone towards the more lookbook aesthetic, even though, like, I don't think I can fully say they're lookbooks, because it's not, like, I'm not doing
What's
it properly.
What's the difference to you, like, between editorial and a lookbook?
The lookbook is to show more of the items. It's to show less, like also that, like, the aesthetic obviously matters.
Yeah.
So in editorials, like, you can do the more creative, like, showing pieces in a more creative side. But the lookbook, I try to encapsulate, like, I don't think it is lookbook. I think it's the lookbook style, where it's just like the model's background, but it shows the pieces more simpler than like an editorial style. But
I
I think it
understand,
highlights the pieces more. You can see it more.
Yeah.
There's not too much going on, but
Yeah.
there's just like the perfect balance that enough's going on that it all ties in again.
Yeah, editorial's more like storytelling, world building,
Yeah.
and then the lookbook is more so like pure product showcase. Cool, I get you. So is there just to kind of circle back, there's nothing that kind of inspires you in terms of like your campaigns and your lookbooks and what you kind of go through?
Oh no, definitely. Like there's a lot of.
Do you have like a kind of reference board or like a reference folder or something like that?
I don't, but obviously Pinterest is to go. Like
Yeah.
I link
Everyone
back to
loves
Pinterest a lot.
Yeah.
But there's also like a lot of bigger brands that are doing like great looks. Like another thing that people will say is don't look up to bigger brands, like you've got to be individual, but you kind of have to in a sense that they're doing it right, so you've got to like see what they're doing and be like, oh no, like that's hard, but you do have to change it to yourself. So like there's bigger brands like Balenciaga, Vetements, No Faith Studios, like they're the three that I mainly look at for my campaign shots.
They like set the bar.
Yeah.
I feel like I really agree with what you said about the point about don't look up to bigger brands, how some people say that. How do you kind of formulate the concept of a collection and kind of what's the meaning behind it? Like, what kind of inspires you to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to do a collection about this. This is the theme. This is what's going on.
I feel like my collections are very based on like the mood I'm feeling then. Also a lot of like current affairs, social media, like it all plays a part. I think more of like I'll have like a design in my head or 2 or 3 designs and I'll think, oh, they work cohesively. Let's build on top of that. So I'll almost like have the design of what I want it to look like first before the clothes come along.
Yeah.
So like the latest collection had a larger meaning. I don't know if you want to get into that.
We can get into it, bro. We got time.
So it was mainly based off going back to sort of my past in art.
Yeah.
And it had the more element of being playful and something that you would make in like arts and crafts, like layering, sticking stuff randomly. Like I put like a neckline on the bottom of a hoodie. Like it's not meant to be there, but it was if like you are just like randomly sticking and placing like playfulness as if you were like a child. Yeah, like having fun with it. Like this collection was really like taken away from like the serious, like mysterious kind of like aesthetic like a brand can follow, and it was just more like the playfulness, just kind of a bit wild with it.
Yeah.
And again, it was going back to like my background in art, being more artistic, like and just being more like playful with it, messing around, doing this, putting stuff where it's not meant to be. And it was also like I feel like a lot of it wasn't meant to be the way it was, but I made sort of mistakes. I made inconsistencies, but I was like, you know what? Like, if you're painting and shit like that, the mistakes and inconsistencies is what makes a authentic painting, and not that's what differs it from like a print or a photo. That it's not got that like perfect to the point of like a photo or a print. Like that's what differs like a painting. Like there's that authenticity. There's mistakes. You can see someone as a human has done this. I think that's what like the inconsistencies and the mistakes is what made it sort of a beautiful collection.
It seems like authenticity is quite kind of center part into your kind of creative production. Like talk to me about like authenticity and like kind of how you feel about that. Is it like something that kind of is it like one of your strongest values that you kind of hold dear to yourself and stuff?
I think that a lot of people fake themselves now to grow or get people to like them more.
It's like changing their character.
It's like an acting, like, and I feel like, I don't know, the amount of authentic and like true people are getting less and less sparse. So I feel like the authenticity is key. Like, I think what differs certain people from certain people. And I do think that is quite important. Like I'm not always like my most authentic self. Like there's got to be a certain mystery. There's got to be a certain hidden part of what you show. Yeah,
100%. I feel like in terms of, especially within the creative, so this might be fashion, music, art. there's always this kind of, I feel like, not image you have to play.
Yeah.
But you have to have something about you that kind of keeps people hooked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So you have got to balance that sort of like the bit that you're hiding to yourself to the bit that you are portraying.
Yeah. Spot on.
And I feel like people are gravitating towards that more, like not just me and myself, but some of the creatives that I've met. Obviously, some aren't all the same. Some aren't their authentic self, and they've done well for themselves. But it's like whatever. But yeah, I feel like it's good to be who you are, type shit. As cliche as it sounds. But in the end, like if these people that are hiding themselves and shit like that, if they do slip up and let themselves out, people are going to be like, who is this?
Yeah,
like exactly. They're not just. It's a harder role to keep up than just being yourself.
Yeah, I feel like as cringe and cliche as it sounds, be yourself is some of the best advice you can ever have in life when you apply context to it.
Yeah.
So in something like this, it's very important to kind of be yourself as well.
100%.
Yeah. So kind of switching the topics, obviously our platform is more about emerging brands globally, the rise, streetwear culture and everything. How do you kind of feel about the rise of smaller brands? Because especially in the UK, there's a lot of brands popping out, lots. So like, how do you kind of feel about that?
I feel like it's great, like people who want to build something for themselves, show their creative side, it's like great. It's getting very saturated.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a bad thing because not all the brands are doing it, or all the businesses are doing it for the right reasons. Like there's a lot of people that won't learn their craft, learn their trade properly, and they'll just be coming out with these pieces saying they're a brand just for the, like, because it's been glorified. Like people are like, oh yeah, I want a small brand, like, or I want a brand, sorry. I want to make clothes. And I feel like it's defo saturating the market. Sorry. But then again, that's not also a bad thing because the people who are doing it properly shine through. But it's just...
Yeah.
It's frustrating to see when someone like me is... Like, I'm not going to say I'm the best at what I do, but I put a lot of effort in. I put a lot of time. Like, I will design a whole collection. I'll scrap it because I don't think it's what I want to do. And some people won't even learn the differences between fabrics. They won't learn how to construct clothes. Like before all this brand stuff, I was constructing clothes. Like that's what I learned, like first. And I think it's just good to know because it is almost like a little bit insulting to the people who are doing it proper. To the people who are just going out paying people to do it. Like not learning the ins and outs and just doing it as like almost like just because it's glorified. Like they just I want a brand, like I want to do what these are doing.
I feel like a lot of people kind of do the brand thing for the money grab or a status grab to say, oh look, I have a brand, or oh look, I made X amount from this brand. But I do fully understand what you mean. So you're kind of saying like the fashion education element of all of this is kind of missing. Like a lot of people kind of go into fashion without the proper education.
I feel like it is important that you should fully know your craft. And it's just getting very saturated. Everyone wants a brand now. Everyone wants to do this. Everyone wants to do that.
It's almost like every guy wants to be a footballer. Obviously, you weren't exactly into football. But growing up, primary school, high school, every guy wanted to be a footballer. And that's almost a new kind of designer. Sorry. And DJs as well.
And DJs. Music as a whole. Like everyone wants to be a musician.
Everyone wants to be either brand owner, DJ / musician.
I just think everyone wants to be famous now.
Everyone wants to be famous. Like, everyone wants to be TikTok or streamer. Bro, like we need plumbers, bro. Like,
in fact, we need doctors, bro.
We need doctors, bro. But I fully hear what you mean. I feel like there's two sides to it because another element that we're kind of forgetting is there's a lot of people into fashion who they don't exactly even care too much because they're more driven by hype. I need to be seen wearing this brand. So that's why that's why some brands can get away with, not exactly knowing that side of fashion, selling their stuff, and people are gonna rep it because it's just people have different tastes. And that's a bit like, obviously again, might be an insult to you, but it's like the name of the game is literally like you can't control people's taste. Like everyone's gonna have different tastes. People's fashion is so like broad. There's so many different styles, and they have different kind of levels of kind of satisfaction. Like, this brand does it for me, but this brand doesn't. Do you know what I mean? So another side of it is the consumer element, where consumers literally just want different things and they care about different things more than others. Luckily, though, and you know, you're a testament to this, the right people that actually care about it, the right people that you want to target, they do care about that stuff and they will appreciate that stuff. And those are the people that really and truly should only be caring about. Do you know what I mean?
No, like there is defo people out there that are doing it beautifully. They're doing everything right. They're learning their trade. They're I don't know, they're putting time and effort into it, and it's good to see, like, and it shows. Like, there is some of these small brands that I think, wow, there's like, you deserve a lot more. And I think that's another element about that I don't like, is because some of these brands that aren't learning their trade and doing it right and all stuff like this, and like you say, they have this like this status that people want. It is this like this hype, and these people that have got this hype and they don't, like, there will be brands that don't even know properly about clothes, but they have this hype and they're making millions. They're living this life that, and they have this status that these small business owners want, but they're not getting that traction, and they're putting in blood, sweat and tears into that. And it's sad to see, but
it's crazy.
It's just the game's the game.
It's crazy. Like, that's literally the name of the game. It's something you can't control. It's like coming to fashion. It's all about what game you want to play. You can go the artistic side of, let me really understand the levels of fashion. Let me understand it. And then you get those people. Or you can go to the side, which is a bit more kind of quicker return of hype, status. Yo, when people are wearing my brand, I want them to feel like this. I want them to do this. It's literally, there's so many kind of avenues you can take within fashion. I feel like a healthy, I guess, let's say, avenue to kind of go through is a balance or a slight mix of both. Maybe not a balance, but a slight mix of both. But really and truly, again, it's not something that you can control. It's the name of the game. People are going to gravitate towards their taste, what they like, and kind of what they're feeling for fashion. Yeah,
no, it is true. And I going back to the whole fashion game, saying you're so broad and stuff like this, I do think the fashion game right now is at a low. Not in the fact of like the creatives and stuff like that. I just feel like we're all in this one game. We all want the same thing, but the people who, like, we all want the same thing, but a lot of the people are like so for themselves, stuff like that. Like, it's a real dog eat dog world.
Yeah.
Like, and that's another thing I don't like about the game. That's another thing maybe why I wouldn't want to stay in this like forever, because I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people, their pride and their reputation means more than like how they are as a person or how they conduct themselves. And yeah, I just do think it like removes that sort of like element of like, I don't know, it's just like not even working together, or like I help, like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type shit. Like, it is just dog eat dog world. Like,
yeah, I feel like a lot of people will be able to relate to you on kind of what you're saying in this element. Fashion, first and foremost, fashion is just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful industry, so much inspiration, but really and truly, like, the people inside it, there's a lot of people that just make it suck like terrible. You know, there's a lot.
It has a dark side.
Exactly, a very dark side. So it's like you almost want to be in fashion, but you don't want to be known as the guy who's doing something in fashion. If you know what I mean, you don't want to associate yourself with the industry because of that dark side, and yeah, it can just really turn you off it.
Like, one example, when I was starting my brand, when I was trying to do what some of these smaller brands are doing now, it was very difficult to get the like mentorship. It was very difficult to get the people that could give you like a hand, could help you out, not in a way that like to make your brand, but just to even like give you this little boost. But I saw a small brand the other day, and I thought their clothes were like hard, like they was doing everything correctly, like it was like some real good shit. Like, it was refreshing to see. I think they only had like maybe 300 or 400 followers, and I was just thinking, when I was at that point, I would want someone to, because I know how difficult it could be, I would like this little boost. So I even like sent them a message. I was like, yeah, like, your shit's hard, like keep going type shit.
Yeah.
And they must have been posting stories and it spent days unread. And I was just thinking, like, I'm trying to, like, give you that boost. I took my time out to message you. I didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And because of this, I don't know what their intention was behind it, but they just didn't even reply.
Yeah.
I just thought, like, it's just becoming like this game that it shouldn't be.
Bro, a lot of people move weird.
Yeah.
It's like I speak to a lot of people every single day, like a lot of brands, and it's like there's so many like undeserved egos or people that, you know, ways that people want to, but, you know, anyway, that's a negative stuff. I don't want to talk too much
more
about
positive,
that.
Yeah.
On a more positive note, obviously you said that there's some brands who might be at kind of a smaller following, smaller stage. What do you think, what type of help do you think they could receive? For example, I'm a platform that's aiming to kind of put exposure on those brands. What kind of things do you think I could do, or opportunities could be presented to them to kind of take them to the next level?
You know what it is? I don't even think it's about opportunities, because obviously opportunities, some are good, some are bad, and brands can build this without opportunities, but it's just like, you know, every now and then, like, these brand owners, you don't know how they're feeling about their brand. Like, I've gone through many stages where I was like, that's it now. Like, it's my time to leave.
Yeah.
Like, I'm finished. I don't enjoy what I'm doing anymore. And I was like down about the brand, but like, all I needed was maybe that message being like, oh, your shit's hard.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, you know what? Like, actual people are seeing it. Like, just every now and then, just like give a little bit back.
Yeah.
And from a brand owner's perspective, to the people who are trying to start small brands, I just feel like you need patience. Like, it's not always going to be, like, it's very glorified. Like, you see the people at the top of the game right now and they're selling out drops, making millions, but it's not always like that. Like, you've got to start off at one point. It might not ever get to that point, but you can get to a point that you're happy with it. But it is going to take patience. Like, I've had issues with manufacturers. I've had issues where I'm not happy with how this has been. I'm not happy with how this has been.
They're always going to come. They're always going to be there.
Yeah, if I let that take over, but I would have stopped it and I wouldn't have got to where I am now. So you just need a bit of patience with it. And then going back to, like, people like you, like, I feel like you're doing great stuff for the community. Like, there's not always that platform that can give the people the help they need, but that little helping hand or that little reach out can completely change how someone feels about what they're doing.
The reach outs, the kind of messages of support is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, just like a little bit, not even a little bit of help, just like, I don't know, just keep them on that track. Like, if anybody messages me questions now, because I didn't have that track, I didn't have that, like, that helping hand, I didn't have someone that I could go to, because, I don't know, I just don't feel like anyone in that time and in that game there was. Like, back in the day when I had 100 followers and I was that small brand, I'd reach out to bigger brands and be like, oh, can I have a bit of advice? And I'd just never get the response. So that's now, if I do see that message, I try to reply to as many people, because I just feel like you do just need to give back a little bit.
I really like that answer, because it's like, that's ultimately one of the pillars of Undiscovered. Part of the reason why I started Undiscovered is because I actually had my own brands as well. Had 2 brands as well. Didn't go well. And I was that guy who was kind of looking for help, looking for opportunities to kind of, you know, get to the next level. And I didn't find it. So hopefully from my platform, as it grows, I'm able to
give people what you didn't have.
Exactly. And it's like, it's good because I understand them. I understand the pain. I understand everybody who's going through the stage of, I don't know what to do, I need help, So, yeah, I really like that you raised that point. Before we kind of finish off with our quick 5 questions, I do have like kind of one more main question, and that's kind of, what's the end goal? Obviously, we kind of covered that already, but where do you want to take the brand? Where do you want to take Bradley Kirkham? Talk to us about some kind of, you know, future stuff that we can expect to see.
I want to take the brand to a point where it makes people confident about what they're doing. Like, I did this I didn't come from like say these brands where an influencer wears it and they just blow up, or like I come from like I didn't come from anything. And yeah, it just gives people that confidence. It gives people that pillar, like that bar that you said that the bigger brands set.
Yeah.
But also just something to get, like, put my message across, like what I want to show my brand as. I want people to see that. Yeah, just ultimately to obviously build that platform, build a message, build a brand. And I feel like it is a little bit egotistical, but I want to, like, you know, when you see people now, like, post on their story, like, oh, who's got this? Like, a massive thing about it now is, like, Hood by Air, which is a brand that went down
it's
in, like,
making a comeback, bro. It's made a comeback.
And people are, like, fiending over it. Who's got this? Who's got that? But I want to be that brand that in 10 years' time, people are showing things back to now. Like, I have items that I've only made, like, 3 or 4 of. And I want people to be, like, scrambling to get it.
Yeah.
That kind of, like, I don't know, that, like, that want that for something that was so old and shouldn't be a thing anymore.
It's basically just at the grail. It's like
the grail,
like the Raf Simmer bomber jacket.
Yeah,
people
the
still
riot
go
one.
crazy. Yeah, people still go crazy over that. That's a very good answer. Quick fire questions, literally 2 quick questions. One piece of advice to brand owners, like if a brand owner came to you and said, Bradley, for my brand to kind of succeed and do well, or how do I get to your stage, what would you tell them?
Just don't let the hurdles and don't let how hard you are on yourself take over what you've done. That obviously we spoke on earlier, and also just have the patience. Like, don't give up on the first hurdle, because it's not that easy. It's very glorified being a brand owner. It's not easy at all. I can tell you now, it is very stressful. There is some real dark times. Like, it's not all good, but the good bits are great.
Yeah, 100%. I really like patience. I feel like even myself, I'm still working with patience. I feel like patience is like a lifelong thing you kind of have to work on. So I think patience is a very good kind of piece of advice and a skill for people to develop. But the last kind of question is, before we kind of, fully finish off, predict one thing about your future self, about either you or the brand. Predict one thing, so that if you were to look back at, you're like, rah, I actually did this. This guy actually...
Just greatness.
Greatness. Yeah.
I am confident in the fact that I've put a lot of hard work in now, and I'm hoping whoever it is or whatever it is will allow my mission, the platform I've built, the substance I've built will get to the point that it deserves. And I hope that comes true.
It will come true, man. You have to say it will come true.
No, it will come true, I need to manifest that shit. But just like, something I can be proud of.
Yeah. Bradley, that was amazing, man.
Thanks for having me in.
Us, of course, man. Bradley, obviously you got an upcoming collection coming out. Any stuff that you want to plug, tell the people, man.
Crafts and Arts, dropping the 30th. This is probably going to be out before this. I mean, the interview is probably going to be out after the collection drops, but just take the pieces in. Because I worked very hard on this one. Yeah,
we'll have all your details up on screen as well.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Of course. I was
written
excited
interviews
about this.
are a lot difficult, a lot more difficult than they seem. So having a voice and me to preach what I feel.
Yeah, it's another element. Yeah, man.
Great, and thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Thank you very much, guys.